Hello, welcome to our channel Contemporary Literary Review India. In this interview, I am with the author Venkatesh Govindarajan. Govindarajan was born in Chennai and was brought up in Mumbai. He spent most of his early childhood days in Mumbai. He is currently an associate professor at the Khurshid University in Sweden. He has published 4 volumes of poems, 4 essay books, numerous scientific publications, crosswords, and magazine articles over time. He sketches in his spare time, likes singing, and is a sports enthusiast, cricket in particular. Before I move ahead, please subscribe to our channel. Hello, Mr. Venkatesh Govindarajan. So, welcome to our channel. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Khurshid. Thanks a lot for arranging this.
Okay.
I hope my voice is coming loud and clear.
Yes, very much.
Is my voice okay? Yep.
Yes, very much. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
I'll just keep it very short. 51 years old. I was born in Chennai, grew up in Mumbai. So spent 32 years here in Mumbai. And at the moment, I am with my parents on vacation. I work currently in Sweden as an associate professor at Karlstad University. So it's been a long journey for me. I completed my education primarily in Mumbai, post-graduated in mechanical engineering. Worked as a journalist incidentally in Mumbai for 5 to 6 years before embarking on my second master's degree, which brought me to Singapore and Germany, Norway, and finally to Sweden, where I'm based currently. I teach engineering subjects because my background is mechanical engineering.
Okay.
I have a PhD in industrial ecology, a PhD which I got in 2011. Apart from that, I guess I have a wide range of interests: sports, singing, sketching, writing, obviously.
Okay.
Believe a lot in contributing to sustainable development in the future, and trying to lead a purposeful life and leave behind something for the generations to come, which will make life for them better than what it is currently.
Okay. That's nice. So, you are into actually engineering field, right? So, how you came into fiction writing? That is, memoir is actually fiction writing.
This is actually, it's not. In fact, I don't know how you classify it because it's a true story. So there is nothing fictitious about it. Everything is real. It's as it happened. It's quite like a narration of facts. So I do not know how it's classified. A memoir possibly could be classified as non-fiction as well because it's a true story. As far as writing is concerned, I've been writing right from my school days. So the interest has been there, and there have been a lot of people who have encouraged me all along, starting from my teachers, my parents, brother, friends, and so on. Incidentally, I landed up in the print media as a journalist because it was 1998, 99 when I was struggling to get a job in the engineering sector. It was a bit difficult at the time. So I wanted to do something, and since the writing was a passion, it was a hobby. Hobby became a profession for me. It remained a profession for 6 years. After that, when I went back to university research and teaching, I continued to write as a freelancer. I didn't want to give it up. So I obviously never really thought of writing a book as such. So it was mostly articles for magazines and newspapers. And I guess all thanks to Ashita, my wife, because she was the one who wanted her story to be told to the world. And we had planned, actually, I and she, we had planned that we would write a memoir of which she would be the first author, I would be the second author. We wanted her to recover first, fight cancer again for a second time. And then that would have been a very strong memoir, really inspirational for a lot of women, That was not to be, sadly. So then I thought it was a promise which I had made to her and I had to keep it up. So that's when I thought, let me foray into this genre of writing.
Right.
I personally do not know if she would have wanted to tell her story in the way I have told it, but I would want to believe that her spiritual energies were with me and she was guiding me all the way during the writing process.
Mm-hmm. True. Okay, so yes, this way I believe that your fiction is very much emotional. What is your view about this?
Obviously, it is emotional, but the purpose is it is emotional because what has been narrated there is what happened in our lives. It's a true story which has been narrated there. So emotional, obviously, it will depend on the reader, of course. Now, if anyone reads the book from cover to cover and then really feels, well, it's very emotional, it made us weep. It's very tragic, for example. It depends on the reader, how the reader wants to look at it. I never really thought about what form the book should take, what form the story should take. I just went on writing because it came right from the heart. So in the end, if it has come out as something really very emotional, dramatic, then so be it, because that was how it was. But the purpose behind this is, even though I didn't have any particular purpose in mind, what was guiding me all along was to honor Ashita, to honor her in the eyes of the world, because people live, as Rajesh Khanna said in the movie Anand, जिंदगी बड़ी होनी चाहिए, लंबी नहीं. लेकिन जो लोग बड़ी जिंदगियां जीते हैं उनके बारे में लोग बात नहीं करते. आजकल अक्सर यही होता है कि अरे he lived up to 1995, wonderful, people clap, right? But कई सारे लोग ऐसे 40-45 years they pass away. Nobody knows the struggles they went through. Nobody knows all the good deeds that they did. Nobody knows all the dreams that they had, more importantly. So I think, I do not know how long I have to live, but she had a lot of dreams. And most of those dreams were to do good to other people. So when you talk of emotions here, she was very emotional about other people's problems, other people's worries, other people's sorrows, to the point of being obsessive. She wanted to help. Many times I used to tell her, no, if God doesn't will that we have to help so and so, then we cannot help them. God will send someone else. But no, she wanted to help. So that was her legacy. And unfortunately, if nobody talks about it, nobody writes about it, it will be forgotten. That there was a woman who possibly downplayed her own sorrows, her own tribulations, her own trials, and always thought that the other person is sadder than I am. I have to do something for him or her. So that was how she was. And I guess she was misunderstood many times because of this obsessive nature to help others. She wanted to help others. Mm-hmm. That was because, again, she was emotional. But she was an emotional person. Therefore, the adjective you used for the story, you said it's emotional. Because I've written about an emotional person. If there's one adjective there are many adjectives which can describe my wife, Ashita. Emotional is one of them. Emotional, sensitive, selfless, hardworking, focused, perfectionist, many adjectives. But emotional is the key adjective there.
Right. Actually, what I find that many people who actually are good by nature and they want to contribute to the society, but at the same time, generally what the society understands is the society generally takes based on failure and success directly. Okay. The society is not interested in understanding the pain and suffering what those who actually contribute to the society for the betterment.
You're very right, Khurshid, but that's been so. History has shown us that's been so always. And normally people are understood many years after they have passed away.
Exactly.
Not by the same generation, by the next generation, perhaps.
Correct.
That's very sad. but then we live with it and we have to accept it. That's how it's been, I guess.
Yeah, true, exactly. Yeah, you actually highlighted the exact same, means the very core reality. Okay. Okay, would you give us a glimpse of your book, like what is memoir all about?
Basically, it traces the 12 years which I and Vashita spent together as man and wife. So the structure of the memoir is a bit unconventional. So it is inspired by Dan Brown. Dan Brown, in his creative writing, he had this. He used to move from one country to another. When he used to move from one chapter to another, there were two different stories, and then there used to be a third story. Then he used to come back to the first one, and the reader was compelled to try to understand and link the different chapters. So in this memoir, I did not really want to do it chronologically. It was not like starting in 2007 when I first got introduced to her till the point in time when she passed away. So you will see that in the memoir there's a zigzag, present to the past, to the present, to the past, to the present, to the past, and so on. That is also a model, a pattern which we see in the Bollywood movies these days. Not just Bollywood movies, but movies all over the world, even Hollywood movies. You start and then you move back, you have flashback, then you come back, and then you have many stories, and the viewer of the movie is left guessing. So I got this inspiration because I thought in my heart of hearts that the icing on the cake would be a movie made based on this book in any language, right? So the book could also be looked upon as a film script. I'm not a script writer. I do not know the rudiments of script writing. But if anyone reads a book, he or she would immediately understand that it can easily be converted to a film script. So the memoir basically was inspired by this larger idea of presenting Varshita to the world on the silver screen in the future, hopefully. And the language used is very simple. It's very simple. So I guess you won't find any big words for which you need to look into the dictionary. It's something which someone can sit in a plane and journey of 2 hours, say from Dubai to Mumbai. You read the whole thing and you will understand the whole thing. And by the time you are at the immigration, you have finished reading the book. Besides, many languages have been used in the book because it's a global book. Vashita was a global citizen. The story is set in Norway and Sweden, basically. Of course, we return to India once in a while because it's past, present, past, present. It's in English, but you find a lot of Hindi, a lot of Urdu, a lot of Norwegian, a lot of Swedish, because we spoke all these languages.
Okay.
Between ourselves, we spoke all these languages. We like music, we like Bollywood music, old film songs. Okay. So we spoke a lot of Urdu also in the process. Great. So in the book, you have words used, sentences used, paragraphs, even poems from different languages with the translations given. So it's very natural. It's quite natural because most of the quotes, the direct speech sentences, they've not been changed because I remember crystal clear what she used to say, the exact words, where she paused, where the comma was, and so on. So those things have been reproduced directly. Okay. So it's quite like a biopic, but a biopic which covers only the last 12 years of her life. For example, now biopics were obviously made on the lives of great people. People were celebrities. Vashita was possibly not a celebrity in that sense. But obviously, the way she lived her life, because I have not talked about the first 36 years of her life. She achieved a lot in the first 36 years of her life before she met me and got married and then came to Norway and then learned the Norwegian language and rose up in a career there despite being plagued by cancer. She did not give up. She fought very hard. But she has she's achieved a lot of feathers to her cap during that very short period of time. And what makes me sad sometimes is when people are really so productive and they do a lot, and they have a lot more to give to the world. That's when God, Allah, Jesus decides, well, it's time, come back. Why? It's a question which I ask myself again and again and again. I spend sleepless nights praying to God and wanting Him to answer me. An answer which I know I may not be able to get. None of us will be able to get why. We'll be able to understand why things happen the way they do. So the memoir, I would say, I would ask readers, I would appeal to readers to read it by being a bit detached. Because if anyone immerses himself or herself in the novel, then there is a risk of trying to really. It's okay, when you're watching a movie, and if it's a sad movie, for example, we all try to become parts of the movie. It's a good thing. Sometimes it's for a betterment, for our spiritual enhancement. So when readers read it, they should possibly not be judgmental, because there are a lot of things narrated honestly about people, about countries, about systems, about societies. But they're all true. And sometimes it takes a lot of courage to speak the truth and publish it, because there may be some people who might feel, oh, I should not be saying all this. They should forget this. They should forgive the past and move on and so on. So it is something which is in my wife's honor and memory. So rightfully called a memoir, of course. Whatever I could recollect from my memory has been put down in that book. And I would request readers to buy a copy, read, leave behind the review comments on Amazon, and contribute in the process to a charitable cause, because all the royalties will directly be contributed to the Vashita Venkatesh Sports for Learning Fund, which has been set up under the aegis of Plan India. That is to support little girls in their education. So it's for a noble cause, a book written about a very noble, very virtuous woman who lived a badi zindagi, not lambi, unfortunately. And the more the sales, the more the money which will possibly go to Plan India's fund, which has been set up in her name. And that is really going to help a lot of young girls in India. As we know now, sports is picking up in India for women as well. Shabash Mittu was launched yesterday. So we thought it will be only about Dhoni, but then we also have a woman Indian cricketer now being glorified through the silver screen. So it's a motivation for little girls, and I would possibly hope very fondly that this book and Ashita's life, which has been narrated in that, talked about in that, will go a long way to contribute to development of girls' education in our country in a big way.
Okay, so what are your aspirations when it comes to your memoir?
Basically, primarily, it is for my wife. It is to honor her. It is to fulfill her promise. And thanks to her, I guess it was because she was with me that, and thanks to my literary agent, Suhail Mathur of the Bookmakers, and the publisher, Roxley Hall Publishing, it has seen the light of day. So that is the first step. Now I can dare to have greater aspirations based on it. Firstly, I would like it to sell. I would like more and more people to buy the book, read it, contribute to the charitable cause. So there will be a lot of, it will be a perfect win-win situation. People getting something to read, people also being in a position to contribute, to donate to charitable cause and feeling good about it. Everyone likes to donate. They just are looking for opportunities. And then, of course, all the good things which will happen in the future for the long term with the Vashita Venkatesh Sports for Learning Fund. Further aspirations, if I can just add on, because it's human nature to dream, right? Our dreams don't stop. We don't want to put a full stop to the dreams. I would like this to be translated. I would like Indian language publishers, be it Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, the South Indian languages.
Mm-hmm.
Indian language publishers to show an interest. And I guess this happens between publishers. The author himself does not have any role to play there. Unless I myself am a translator, but I'm not. And also some European languages. I would like it to be translated into Norwegian and Swedish. But I would like that to happen, at a P2P level, a publisher to publisher level. Without my knowledge and then I coming to know about it, it will be a wonderful thing when I get that news that your book is being translated into Hindi, for example. That is one. And then lastly, as I said, the icing on the cake would be the book being the basis for a film script, being made into a movie in any language. But these days, you make it in one language, it can be dubbed into several languages. So any film producer showing an interest in Vakshita's story, it's a foreign story. So it's going to be an international film. It can even be a Hollywood movie for that matter. It's an international film which will be set in Scandinavia. So there is a great potential. Of course, producers would possibly look at a script which would give them opportunities to earn more money. And then if you have a true story from Norway and Sweden, everyone wants to visit Norway and Sweden. They are possibly the most beautiful countries on earth. So we want to shoot a movie there. Of course, it's a sad story. But then sadness and nature at the same time. You show something which is very sad to the viewers. At the same time, the backdrop is beautiful nature, Scandinavian nature. So producers, I'm sure, would want to avail of it. And telling a story out to people out there in the world will most certainly motivate and inspire a lot of people, a lot of youngsters, a lot of women, a lot of men, a lot of married couples, for example, who would possibly be able to understand. The life of a woman, for example, is tough, is very difficult. Only women write about it. Men don't. There are some male authors who have written about it. I can think of some names, but I don't want to list them because I might leave out some names and they may not like it. Only women authors generally try to write about the nobleness, the nobility, and the virtuosity of a woman's life. Growing up, being a very kind sister, being a very obedient, caring daughter, then being a very concerned wife, being a very good friend, being a very supportive colleague in the workplace, then being a very loving mother and a grandmother and so on. And God created women just like that automatically, and this comes naturally to them. All men are not able to appreciate them, sadly. So when people read my book, I'm sure that there will be many men, well, there will be some people who listen to this and possibly might be abusing me, but there would be many men who would pause and understand, and respect their wives, right? Understand that their daughters are on par with their sons, right? Respect their mothers and so on and so forth. So that is something, and Vakshita would indirectly have contributed to women's welfare, girls' education, and more of it will take many years for that kind of equality, gender parity to come into India. We want it in India as well to some extent. Gender parity, which I experience in Norway and Sweden, I don't see any difference between man and woman. What a man can do, a woman can do. A woman drives buses and trucks there. Maybe better than men, more safely on the roads. So that has to come into India. So this book possibly will spark of thinking, on these lines. At the same time, Vakshita will be remembered even after I am dead and gone. I want the world to remember her, and I guess a book stands the test of time. If it's made into a movie, it will still stand the test of time for a much longer duration. If it's translated into many languages, then the span of people remembering Vakshita will increase. So those are the aspirations. There are a lot of aspirations. But sometimes I just close my eyes and tell God, you take it forward. God knows what best. If I have done this with a good intention, which I know I have, they say if intentions are good, then God steps in and helps. That's
Right.
what we believe in India,
True.
right?
True.
So I leave it there. Of course, this is an interview, and I obviously cannot say that, well, no, I don't want to say anything. Better to remain quiet. So these are the aspirations. And I think it's better for me to put it out, thanks to this interview with you, because there will be many people listening to this video, viewing this video and listening to the audio.
Mm.
And they would possibly, there would be someone out there, whom I do not know, but they would listen to this and they might want to help in some way to make this happen. So that's what I look forward to. And I guess thanks to CLRI, thanks to you, this would be a wonderful platform because I'm going to share it. When you send me the link, I will be sharing it on my social media with my friends as well, request them to share it even further. And hopefully, God decides, right? Who God sends people to help you. That's how it is, right? We know that from mythology as well.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody might want to help in a big way, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would see my dreams may not be the same, may not be aligned with what God wants to happen. But whatever happens, possibly would be for the best and would please me
Mm-hmm.
and please Varshita's soul up there in heaven.
Right. 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 True. So, as you said that this is memoir, but did you do any preparation for writing your memoir?
Not at all. The only motivator was the fact that I made her a promise that I would write it. And then I told that in front of 150 people who had assembled when we bid final goodbye to her. And then after I immersed her ashes in the Ganges and came back home, I remembered that, well, I have to start writing. So there was no preparation as such. The only preparation was I got sheets of paper and I started writing manually. So the whole manuscript was written by hand first. And I remember I used to write 11, 12 hours a day. This was when there was the COVID lockdown, 2020, and there was nothing else to do here in Mumbai. And so the preparation was basically taking a pen and putting it down on paper, and just the thoughts started flowing thanks to her. Once again, that was only preparation.
Mm-hmm.
So beyond that, I have read memoirs, of course. I've read memoirs written by other people. I've read autobiographies written by other people. But I guess for writers, it is such that writers have to read a lot. And when writers read a lot of things get etched in the mind, in your subconscious. And then when you start writing, you do not know what is inspiring you. Some writer from the 19th century or the 18th century might be inspiring you and you will not realize it. Sometimes we understand that and we quote someone. When we write, we quote someone. So it's very clear that someone has inspired that quote there. But otherwise, when you write something, it could possibly be a combined inspiration of the spiritual energies of writers who existed once and were left behind their books. And we read all that, and we as writers, we try to imbibe that, not consciously, but it happens unconsciously. And then
True.
someone reads what you write. I have experienced this. I remember someone read what I wrote. I wrote a short essay and posted it somewhere. And someone asked me, why does this remind me of R.K. Narayan's so and so novel? So I have to say, well, I've read R.K. Narayan's novel, and if you're saying that what I've written reminds you of R.K. Narayan, I'm mighty blessed because maybe R.K. Narayanji's soul is blessing me indirectly. So we do not know how these things happen. So
Yes.
talking of preparation, I guess writers have to keep reading. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only preparation they can do, and then they have to take the pen or the pencil, have a paper, and it's very important to write things down on paper these days.
Mm-hmm.
People are forgetting that. They just sit in front of their laptop and start typing their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I would advise young readers, though I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many young readers will take that advice. I would advise young readers to start by taking a sheet of paper, a nice sheet of paper. You have your coffee with you, take a pen and start writing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually start writing before you
Right.
start typing.
True. True. Okay. So, in general, which writers have you read more?
I have read a lot of books. I was a voracious reader right from school days. So I cannot actually single out anyone because I'm not choosy. There are some people who say that they like only autobiographies. Some others say that they read only crime thrillers and so on and so forth. I used to read anything which I could get. Those days, we didn't have money to buy books when we were in school. So we used to get a pocket money of 5 rupees or something. And then we used to go to the Raddiwala and we used to see books which were being sold for 50 paise. So we just used to see it, I and my brother, and we used to see an author's name. We have never read it before. Let's see how he writes. We used to pick it up and read. So it will be very difficult for me to name any writer and say that so and so is my favorite. Of late, I would say I've been reading Ralph Waldo Emerson recently. The last book I just finished reading. Of course, the latest book I finished reading yesterday was Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh's A Free Thinker's Guide, a Free Thinker's Prayer book. And just before that, I finished reading Ralph Waldo Emerson. And then if I just try to trace back, I might possibly end up naming 200, 300 different authors. So I think writing is an effort. Is an effort which someone puts in, and it's not just the writer, but after that, it's a lot of effort put by the 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 person who designs the pages, the editor, the publisher, and everyone else. And so I would not want to differentiate between different types of books because I believe that all writers, all books provide us with something. It's either entertainment or it is spiritual wisdom or it is just to, someone just wants to take a break, and wants to go and lie down in a hammock and read just about anything. So it could just be some fiction, pulp fiction. Even that serves a purpose at that point in time. So I would be very careful not to say that these writers are very good. I don't like to read books written by those writers. No.
Okay.
All writers deserve respect.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your valuable views. So if you have anything extra, anything more to share?
Just a very humble request to all the people watching this video. I think it's very customary, I guess, people make humble requests. Please buy this book. If you are a bibliophile and if you like reading, please buy this book. By doing it, obviously, you will, more than me, you will satisfy Ashita's soul up there in heaven and her blessings will descend upon you. Secondly, you will be contributing, donating to a very, very noble cause set up in the interest of girls' education. And after you read the book, please leave behind your review comments. Amazon, Pustak Mandi, it's now available on those too. For foreign viewers of this video who would like to read the book, you will have to wait till I think latest before Christmas, before the Kindle version is available on Amazon.com.
Okay.
So I guess for Indian viewers, you have the book available on two platforms, Amazon and Pustak.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Khurshid. Thanks a lot, and I'm extremely grateful to you and to CLRI for this opportunity. I'm pretty sure that this video will reach far and wide through the internet, and many people. Possibly, I might find someone who would possibly want to collaborate with me. I might find publishers who are interested in signing book deals with me, hopefully. And I'm working on some more manuscripts, which and possibly we could have another interview later on when
Sure.
the second book is published.
We will do. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Khurshid. God bless. Have a nice day.
Thank you.